these doctors, these physical therapists, these trainers, these coaches said, you are not going to be able to play sports?
I wouldn't say I was hopeless, but I was definitely pretty depressed about it and just uncertain and a little bit afraid of what the future might bring.
We're talking to one of my, I can't even say this without getting emotional. We're talking to one of my favorite patients I've ever had in my career today, Kyle Mellinger, who I met when he was a 16-year-old punk high school kid who lived at least an hour and a half away, if not further, in bad traffic. But thank you, Kyle, for being here and talking with us, because there are millions of kids like you, especially those teenage kids, boys, girls, it doesn't matter. But the challenge that you had is very, very common in that age group. And your story and how you got through that and what you went on to do in your life is remarkable. And every single person who has this problem should have the result that you have. So tell me a little bit, Kyle, before I met you, because I didn't really know, I only saw you after. What were those years like before you met me of your physical condition and what you could or couldn't do?
Yeah, well, it's great to be here, Kate. Thanks for having me. Excited just to share my story and all that you have done for me. So before I met Kate, I was struggling with a series of knee subluxations. Started when I was 14 years old, and I was playing baseball, and I was just feeling the ground ball. I was playing it on my left or my right knee, sorry, and felt this pop in my knee and didn't know what it was. And then went to some doctors, found out it was a knee subluxation, and got some physical therapy for that injury. But unfortunately, the issue kept happening. Just a few months after that, I actually had a knee subluxation on my left knee playing basketball. And then over the course of the next year, had a subluxation of each knee another time playing soccer and baseball again. So at that point, I had 4 knee subluxations. And every time I'd gone through a month or 2 of rehab to get back to able to play, I was having pain. I was apprehensive always that would happen again, and was just in a very bad shape to wonder if I could ever get better, if this would keep happening, and if I could continue to play sports.
I'll just, for those of people who don't know what a knee subluxation is, that your kneecap is supposed to sit in this groove in the long bone of your leg, and your kneecap literally goes outside the joint, goes to the outside of your leg, and then it pops back in. A dislocation is where it stays out there and we have to manually put it back in. Subluxations are more common. But imagine a bone leaving the joint and going on the outside of your leg. It's horribly painful, is it not? It's
Yeah. I kind of felt like my knee exploded. There's just this pop and instant pain and swelling every time it happened.
it's terrible. So your wonderful mother, I'm not sure how she found me, but she did, and drove him 2 or 3 times a week from a very far distance for, well, I met you when I was 16. When you were 16, did you graduate when you're 17 or 18 from high school?
Yeah, 18.
So from 16 to 18, his mom drove him all the way to San Diego to get treatment. And when I saw Kyle, so those of you who have this, is called patellofemoral dislocation, subluxation, or malalignment. And it's when that kneecap pops out of the joint. It's very, very amenable to the right kind of physical therapy. And what we do is we manage that anatomical position of the kneecap, stretch all the structures around it that are affecting it, strengthen all the structures around it to keep it there, and then make sure that we strengthen everything else in the body, because it's a multifactorial problem where the knee is affected by the foot and the pelvis and the back. So I would say, Kyle, it took us a good, you think 3, 4, maybe 6 months to alleviate your bilateral 2 knees, not just one. He had it. He's one of the worst patients of this I've ever seen. Sorry, Kyle. But in both knees. And he could, when I first saw him, he could barely take a step without his kneecap moving in a place where it shouldn't have moved. And what got me about you, Kyle, was that you said to me, my goal in life is to play baseball in college. And these experts, these doctors, these physical therapists, these trainers, these coaches said, you are not going to be able to play sports. And that's just not true if it's in the right hands. So you think it took about that long to
Yeah,
do
yeah, I
that?
do. Yeah, I do think it took, quite a bit of time. I think initially, I know we were kind of just working on trying to get the alignment right and getting the muscles around it. And then as we worked more, then it was about, like you said, strengthening my core, other muscles, and kind of helping me to be able to perform at a higher and higher level. But yeah, I think it was at least a few months until some of that apprehension of my kneecap kind of sliding out where it shouldn't have been was starting to be alleviated.
That is the perfect word because the test we do for this is called an apprehension test. And we take your leg and we very gently, gradually start pushing your kneecap to the outside. And if a patient says, don't do that, ow, that hurts, or maybe this has happened to someone, or I've gotten hit before, like, don't do that to my knee. And so you were very apprehensive. And it's difficult because you don't, when you have this, you don't know if you're, I was walking down the street and slipped on the teeniest little puddle of water and subluxed my knee. It can
Mm,
happen that easily. And so you have to gain the confidence, especially if you're going to play a college sport, um, physically and mentally, both, right? To feel like you can do it, you have the confidence to do it, and you don't have to worry about your knee every second.
yeah, no, absolutely. I feel like it was, yeah, definitely a mental and a physical issue at that point. I think yeah, the mental, like the apprehension of just worrying what's going to happen, that confidence to be able to plant hard, to run as fast as you can, to really put a lot of pressure on the knee. I think also just maybe the mental frustration of having it happen again, where you train, you get stronger, and then you have a setback. And I think that was also really hard. I didn't feel like I was able to really grow physically and as my skills as an athlete to be where I wanted to be because of all these setbacks. So the frustration, the apprehension, I think all of that, in addition to just the physical problems itself.
Did you ever get to a point where, way before we started working on your sports specific training, when you were going to these other people and having these subluxations and having the incident, did you ever think, man, maybe I won't ever play sports? Did that ever, or were you like, no, I'm going to beat this somehow? Or because a lot of my patients tell me they just don't know what to do and they don't know what to expect.
Yeah, I think that definitely crossed my mind many times. I remember, I think the first time it was okay, like, this is something that happened, but no big deal. I'll come back from it. The second time it happened, it was like, okay, a second time, but I'm good. I think the third and fourth time was just really demoralizing. Where I'm like, this is this going to keep happening every month, every week? Am I ever going to get back to normal and back to able to play without pain, without this happening again? So I think that third and fourth time it happened, I think that was getting into my head a lot if I would be able to do this again. And I knew there was an option to have surgery, but I hadn't heard great reports of that working, and that could cause issues itself. And so, yeah, I definitely was thinking in my head, is this going to be it? Is this going to end my ability to play sports or even do things down the future as an adult that I would want to do?
Yeah. And then after we got solved your patellofemoral dysfunction, then we started training you for baseball for
Mhm.
college. And then you ended up going and playing 4 years
Mhm.
of college baseball. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So I got to finish high school. And yeah, after I worked with Kate from the very first day, never had another subluxation, which is just incredible. So got to finish my last 2 years of high school injury free and got to really grow as an athlete. And then got to play 4 years of college baseball and play in so many games. And that was just a real blessing.
That was a milestone for me when you told me that about all your subluxations before, and that as soon as we started working together, that you never had another one. Because I personally have had 12 and I know what that's like, and I never want to have another one. So I know what that feels like. So I was like so grateful that you didn't have to experience that again. And then you told me, so you went off to play baseball. And then you told me, being from Ohio, we're both Midwesterners, and I went, did all my training in Ohio in two different schools. One of your other goals, besides playing college baseball, was to go to Ohio State. Did that happen?
It did, yeah. Not necessarily the way that I originally planned, but I would say even in a better way. So I ended up got to play baseball at a school called Wheaton College, which was a great experience and wouldn't trade it for anything. And then got to go to medical school at Ohio State. So I didn't make it there as I had dreamed. And Kate, you played a big part in me wanting to pursue medicine when I just saw um, how someone who had such a knowledge of the human body, such an expert knowledge, and also who really cared for people and loved them well could really change someone's life, really inspired me to want to go into medicine.
Well, it's through adversity sometimes it's a blessing and we find our calling and I know who you are as a person. You're going to be an incredible doctor. And I'm so glad that we got to play a part in, because most 16-year-old kids don't know what they want to do. And
Mhm.
I'm glad we got to play a big part in how your life um, moved forward. And then the other thing you told me, which is not, I think you can tell me this, you can pretty much do whatever you want now with your knees, not only play sports and be healthy and active, but I think you want to have a family and be able to teach your kids sports and play with your kids. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, there was a time, yeah, before, like we talked about when I was younger, and if this issue's ever away, like, could I, you know, play rec league basketball as an adult? And like we talked about, could I even play with my kids? Could I run around with them and play sports with them and be their coach and play? And I think there was a time where I was wondering, even as a high schooler, what the future would be. But now I am not worried about that. I can, play slow pitch softball, play basketball, play soccer with friends, and looking forward to having kids. Looking forward to playing with them and coaching them and being a part of their lives, which is great. It's great not to have to be limited by my knees and not be able to do something in the lives of my kids going forward.
So can you do any activity or sport you want with no limitations?
I can do any sport with no limitations. Yeah, none at all, and that's incredible.
That's awesome. That's so awesome. I just you've come so far. We have a great little video of you when you were 16, when you thanked us for what we did for you, and it's really great, and you're one of so many teenagers that have a problem. They don't get to the right person, they don't get the right treatment, and then their lives are not the way they imagined them, like you did, and you're able to with now that you're healthy and you can do the things you want. And one of the things about patellofemoral dysfunction, it's one of the very few orthopedic problems that can actually get better as you age. Most things don't. Arthritis gets worse. Tendons get a little less blood supply. But if this is treated right in these teenage years, then you can actually improve that condition over time. And it's so rare, but it has to be in the right hands.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah, I do feel like I mean, that would be a case in point of being able to actually improve over time. Because, like I said, ever since I met you, Kate, never had any issues with this again, and don't even feel that apprehension that we talked about before. My kneecaps are sliding out. I just feel like I have very solid knees, I guess I would say.
And I know it's been a long time, but I'll never forget when you came in for the first time and you were, I don't know how to say this. You weren't depressed or anything. You're down, but you were so concerned and so didn't know what to do because you've been to so many different people and you've been told so many times that you weren't able to do this. And I feel deeply for these young teenagers that have this and you can see it. You can see it in their face. You can hear it in their words. And they're just like, now what am I going to do with my life? What's going to happen now? Because I thought it was going to go one direction and it may not go there. And so it thrills me to death to see what has happened with you through college, through med school, on to be this amazing doctor. And now you're going to do what we did for thousands and thousands of patients.
I hope so. Yeah, if I could impact my patients in the future like you impacted me, Kate, that would be awesome. That's what I'm dreaming for and what I'm hoping for.
You will. Well, thanks, Kyle, for taking the time. I know you're you're a medical resident right now, and I know being a resident is very time consuming and challenging and sleep deprived, and you're learning all these new things. And so I really appreciate you taking the time to talk to us. And I know that anybody out there that's listening to this that either has had your experience, have teenage kids who have this experience, that they're going to have hope now because of you. And they're going to go, I'm going to be able to solve this because I'm going to find the person, or I'm going to help them find that person in their area that's going to help them realize their goals, because the patient goals are the most important by far.
Hmm. Yeah, thanks, Kate, for just reaching out. And this was a real, just an honor for me to come on with you. I have been so impacted by you. And when you reached out, just excited to share with anyone who listened of what you've done for me. Yeah, just truly incredible. Again, going from all of these knee subluxations, my kneecaps just sliding out all the time, not being able to play sports, to finishing high school, playing college sports, and now just being without any knee issues for so many years now. And then on top of that, just being impacted by your care for patients, your expertise, and just wanted to emulate that now going into medicine and to be able to give hope to other kids and athletes who might be going to issue and say, hey, if you find the right person, if you're able to work hard on these things, it is possible to get better, and to give people hope is incredible. So I'm just grateful to be here with you, Kate.
Thank you. Thanks.
Yeah. So yeah, if you are out there and you are going through an issue that seems to be recurrent, chronic, not getting better, has a poor prognosis, not wondering what to do, would definitely recommend that you reach out and talk to Kate. I think just even one time talking with her, you'll find that she is so good at approaching things differently from other people and really getting at to what's the bottom of the problem, not putting a band over things, but really saying, what is the cause of this and how can we address this, not just to make you feel better on the short term, but really fix the problem and get you back to being fully healthy in the long term. And she is so good at that that I would say if you have the chance to talk to her and she's able to yeah, walk through things with you, definitely would be worth doing that. My name is Kyle Mellinger. I am currently a medical resident doing internal medicine and pediatrics at the University of Tennessee in Memphis. And I'm going to be a primary care physician doing primary care for adults and kids in Denver, Colorado moving forward, and just hoping to care for patients really well like Kate did for me. I remember some doctors and physical therapists just bringing up the fact that this might not be an issue of my knees basically dislocating out of my knees, and that would be able to be fixed, and that this might be something that would be long term and would keep me out of sports and being able just to do normal things that I wanted to do. And it made me feel really bad. I was hoping that it was not true, but at the time that this happened so recurrently, no one seemed to be able to fix it. I thought it was definitely a possibility. And I, yeah, just, I wouldn't say I was hopeless, but I was definitely pretty depressed about it and just uncertain and a little bit afraid of what the future might bring. Nope, never had surgery. Nope, never needed it.
Did tell you you needed it? They
Um,
recommended.
They said, so a lot of the doctors in Silveira said, if this, couldn't be fixed, if it kept happening like one or two more times past the last time I had it, that I was probably going to need surgery down there. So I think if it happened maybe even one more time, and I hadn't met Kate, then I could have very well gone down the surgery route. I'm very glad I met Kate. So grateful.
Surgery, the primary and most effective treatment for patellofemoral dysfunction, whether it's a subluxation or dislocation or just what we call anterior knee pain, pain around your kneecap, under your kneecap, inside, outside. It can be anywhere around your kneecap. It's very amenable to the right kind of physical therapy. It takes a good exam, it takes the right diagnosis, and it takes a lot of manual skills to make sure that you keep that kneecap in the joint where it's supposed to be, and then you strengthen the joint, keeping the kneecap in alignment, and address all the other factors that are involved. Surgery for this is not very effective, and most of the time, surgeons don't want to do it because the results aren't very good. So the only time I would say surgery is a good option is if you have exhausted all other options and you've had the right kind of physical therapy with the right person, which there's very few in the world, I think, treat this properly, and you work hard, takes a lot of work, then you can maybe consider it, but it is a very, very rare. So the key is to find the right physical therapist, get under their care, go through their treatment plan, work hard, and as time goes by, it can get better and will get better. Kyle, do you remember how you or your mom found us?
I don't remember exactly. I think my mom, I think, must have just been searching for, physical therapists in the area that were particularly had like a focus in knees. And I think just like in her search, I think your name came up. I don't know if we knew anyone that had worked with you before. I don't think that we did. Yeah, I think it was just searching that your name just kind of came up, and again, we had kind of exhausted a lot of other options at that point, and so I think just you had good reviews and looked really different. I think even just how you presented your work and just looking up on the internet, like how you presented yourself was a different way than we had approached before, and I think my mom wanted to give that a try.
We were not happy with the way patellofemoral dysfunction was being treated anywhere, even with physical therapists. So we developed what's called the on-track system, if you know about, and it's a whole treatment protocol that first addresses returning the patella into its normal anatomical position and making sure it doesn't sublux or dislocate, and then following the manual therapy and therapeutic exercise protocols. So once we developed that, and I think that's probably what she saw, the on-track system became the gold standard treatment protocol for patellofemoral dysfunction. And so I think a lot of people came to us from all over the country because they saw that the treatment protocol and how effective it was, and that it was there was a lot of very new and well-designed research studies to show, like the very first kinematic MRI was done, and that means within an MRI there was movement, so you could actually see if the kneecap stayed in the groove or it didn't. And we did only people who subluxed, and so we got them in the MRI, showed the subluxation, put the on track on them, and they didn't sublux. So there was a lot of institutions, research institutions, and great research did a lot of studies on it. And so we're happy to see that it did very well when it came time for the research studies. But that might have been what she saw, because that's how a lot of people found us through the on-track system. Yeah.
Yeah, I think she probably finds you just did the on-track system. Yeah,
And you're well aware of it.
I, I am. Yep. Perfect case series for it of how well it works.
Right. You're a good clinical trial.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so my residency, it's a combined residency. It's internal medicine and pediatrics. So internal medicine is kind of general adult medicine, and then pediatrics is kid medicine. And so my residency is a little unique that it does both of those. I'll be board certified in both of those areas and get to do a lot of different things with that. But I want to do primary care and get to care for kids and adults in that setting. Yeah, going into medicine, I think I was definitely inspired by Kate. And also, I think having like the longitudinal relationship with Kate and getting to see her over a period of months and then even years, I think that was such a neat experience for me that I wanted to have that same longitudinal relationship with patients and get to know them over a period of years and be a part of their lives in a really unique and impactful way that Kate was for me. Yeah, Kate was, very different from other doctors and physical therapists I've worked with, I think for multiple reasons. I think, just her expertise, again, how she was able to kind of analyze a whole lot of different things and really get to the root issue and really focus on that root issue was very unique. And she just was so knowledgeable, and you could just tell that she's such an expert. But I think how much that she cared about me and such a great combination of like a coach, and sometimes she'd be tough on me and kick my butt in the gym, but also very encouraging, and felt like she just was such a fan for me and wanting me to do really well, not only in sports but just in life. And so just that unique combination made her just so impactful and so different than anyone else that I had encountered at that point.
When you see a kid at 16 or 14 or 13, like, that you can have an impact on how the direction of their life is going to go. I mean, there's nothing better than that. But Kyle to me was like this little, I don't want to call you frail, but you were a little kid and you had these terrible knees. And I thought, man, if we can fix him, we can fix almost anybody, because you were, it's one thing to have it in one knee, but to have it in two knees, that's horrible. Like, he didn't have a good leg to stand on, literally. He had no stability in his legs. And so to be able to take somebody from that through where he is today is, I think it's just remarkable. And you worked so hard. He did everything I asked of him and then some. Everything. It was a pleasure.
Yep, it was very, exciting to work with you. Like, it was inspiring. Like, you definitely motivated me to want to go the extra mile, to work harder, to be better. And it really fun and encouraging. Once I started to see results too, and better, getting stronger, I think that just pushed me even more.
Yeah, I think it's kind of a self-fulfilling encouragement, isn't it?
Yeah, well, thank you, Deb, for helping to set this up. And it's just great to be part of this, kid. Thanks for reaching out again. It was really fun to get to talk and share, and excited for this project and how many people you'll help through it.
And I will reiterate, I'm available anytime you want to collaborate. What's really cool now is that you're going to end up seeing these young kids. I mean, I've seen this as young as 8 years old. And 9, 10, 11, 12, it just depends on how they grow and if the bones grow the right way or they don't grow the right way. But you'll be able to see these kids now, and you'll have such personal experience to be able to help them. They're going to just be so lucky. And I'm available at any time, as I told you. If you ever have a question, you want to collaborate, I'm just a phone call or a Zoom call away.
Yeah, thanks, kid. I definitely want to take advantage of that. I think kids coming into the primary care office, you're kind of the first line of defense of the primary care doctor, and to have you as a resource to kind of help me navigate that and set kids up on the right trajectory when they come in to see me for the first time is awesome. So I would definitely be taking advantage of that and getting your input. Yes, please.
That'll be fun. One of the main reasons that we're doing this is because I don't want everything that I've learned from many, many people and I've experienced by helping patients to just go away. I want to share it with whoever wants to listen to it, and that I'm hoping that through our joint effort, that I'll be able to help people that aren't as fortunate as those that get to walk in the doors of our sports medicine clinic in San Diego, that if they live in Alaska or wherever, that through this information and contacting me and letting me help them, that we'll be able to eliminate anybody who's not getting the best care possible. That's the whole purpose. And I know with examples like you that we're gonna hit home with a lot of people who have patellofemoral malalignment.
Yeah, I hope so. Yeah. It's great to be part of this video, and definitely want to see it continue on.
We'll keep you posted.
Well, I first found out about Kay had some knee troubles, patellofemoral problems. Actually, they dislocated about 4 times within the same year, and I was having a lot of trouble. Most of the people I went to said I had to strengthen my VML muscles. They said I might have to do surgery, and so I was really nervous. It wasn't helping at all. I thought I might not be able to play anymore. And then I came to Kate, and she had a total different philosophy, actually retraining my kneecaps to align perfectly. So and I could play forever, and I wouldn't need the brace just for a couple weeks. So I started training with her. At first, I couldn't even do that much at all. I was just doing basic step ups, just doing quad exercises, and progressively got better and better. I was actually back playing ball pretty quickly, probably within a couple of months of my latest injury. And after that, I just kept progressing from that first step where I can only do step ups and walking around simple exercises to more complex one, working my whole body together. All the time, still bending up my knees, making sure that I have proper alignments. And so for the last couple of years, it's been great. My performance, my speed, my strength has all improved dramatically. I had a great high school baseball career. I made all-state second team just because of all this training. It really helped me a lot. It's been really, really awesome. Going forward into college, I have a lot of confidence that I'm not only going to be healthy, but I'm going to be strong and as fit and as ready as any kid that's going out there. So for getting me ready, for keeping me healthy, and for getting me strong and ready to go to college, I'm really excited.